in the grand scheme of things, in this modern world, in this modern day and age, where people get married for all sorts of stupid reasons. Most of it, I mean, it's not the way it was. It's not like Fidelis. It's not like the way that it was spoken of or the way that I grew up that it was supposed to be. It's just not. Um, but in some social expose, they have this thing called TMC Live. I don't normally watch it. I was watching the Eyewitness News at 12, and then this came on. And they mentioned some nobody. But the nobody of importance, of like no importance or no significance, happens to be like part of the circus that's going on in the United States of America while it falls apart within my life frame. So I'm looking at it because, I mean, again, the divorce that I went through when I got away from the person who put his hands around my neck and tried choking me, same person that I woke up next to or whatever and was totally cut up. I mean, it's a interesting whatever and whatever of I'm a celestial heavenly body. Like there was an expectation of my birth. There's a whole church built around the special woman with the special child. And then there's a whole ancient art and artifact and like the magic. I mean, like they used to say magical people. I mean, I don't, again, get very much word in. This morning, somebody in the Gemini section of whatever was kind enough to put a picture of geospatially, almost like a spiritual being, and then the the thoughts of a spiritual being as it pertains to, and then some of the non-alpha beta symbols that I've seen, that are more characteristics of polymathematics and polyscience and indivisible things. Um, and a visualization of the invisible realm of a reality. It's just not a common reality, but it does exist, whether the common folk choose to recognize it or not. Um, so I'm watching that, and I'm thinking, I'm like, there is a great hall. Not only is there church, but there's a great hall somewhere with hand paintings. There's marble etched, whatever. There's history in the family lineage for which I was born. It's not celebrated. I mean, they go to church, some of these people, but it's not celebrated in a sense of restoration to whatever the former was for the celestial partnership between alien and man. Um, it's spoken of, I don't know where. I don't know if that's part of the Viking. I had a man on the street today. I was going for one of my walks. I put up something about the Bell of Troy this morning, and as I walked by, the man looked like the man that was assigned to me, Felix ish, along that confectionery sugar coating. And he put up his hands like this in the air and started walking just like around the corner and looking around to see whatever. I thought that was interesting. Only time I've ever done that is I was invited by Tia Frio to Manhattan unexpectedly. I didn't want my son to go alone. I went. There was some person, Nick, that we met. Nick wound up collapsing on the side of the street in convulsing. I called 911. I was the one on the phone. And while I was on the phone, I put up in clear light of whatever was in Manhattan that day, like emergency service worker. I am not looking for like gang related violence while I'm here. this, whatever this is that just collapsed on the sidewalk that now I need an ambulance for, I have no idea. Not part of it either way. I don't know. Again, not my thing, but it happens around my person more than I'd like to acknowledge. And either way, I'm in a something else category. So he walked the street and he put up his hand like this today. I thought that was interesting because that doesn't normally happen. There was only one person. Thank you. I don't need more than one sign. Don't know what's going on in elsewhere territory, but as far as the this new societal norm of North country in North America, in the years that I've been here, they allow for something now called divorce. I used Christy Brinkley's divorce attorney. Tom Campagna, he's the one who said he was Christy Brinkley's attorney for divorce from Billy Joel. I'm like, great. Did not know if that had any more significance than anything else, but whatever on that. So he's celebrity attorney. He was referred to me from the Indian woman Nina that I had as a manager at Century 21 when I first worked there. And so I did not know how divorce worked. I had never heard of it. I did not know anybody who had ever gone through one. But I could not stay married to this person that I just returned from Virginia and had the special child. And I knew that it was not like it's just, there's reasons for it. So whatever on that. So I went through their process. They gave me the paperwork. I didn't have to go to court for it. The lawyer went to court for it and whatever that's about. But because the person I was divorcing is just an NYPD officer, not like an officer of the Royal Air Force, not an officer of the land surveillance, not a military officer of any sort, just a plain old born here, entered the police academy, got on the force, that's it. The numbers that I got at the divorce were $900 in child support a month. I don't know, for carrying the hands of time and producing the hands of time and having been forced into this whatever relationship to begin with. There's no maintenance because there was no money left over. And I don't know if anybody's ever lived in New York, having 3 children and only $900, not a piece in total. Food costs more than that. Social service and welfare I applied for, they denied me. So how is I going to raise these children? Well, I keep getting abused around here. So now I've never known anybody else who's gotten divorced. I've known some people, but not like celebrity, like the ostentatious. I do not. And so I'm watching TMZ for like a benchmark or an index. If I was talking to Pitco at a 500 index level of SEC, I would probably say that's what this video could be potentially whatever. Because, the class of living, somebody took the time to protect me in an Eagles dock within a special harbor system of protection at the Vanderbilt planetarium level, not at palatial level, but at planetarium level. They would come and they would visit. There was special purpose. How that ever ended, how a blue sky ever went in to effect to like persecute someone before the child actually begins and rob the father of the only business he's ever known. I don't know how they accomplished it. It was around the same time of Clinton. Um, so I don't know what that was all about. But I do know that star timing, astrology, and the cosmos are for human and life programming on this planet are the most important. They always will be. And then I see parts of some human derivative that partakes in some form of gaming and then puts their own life in harm's way, but then has some access to some law circle of friends. And I'm watching their numbers. I'm like, this guy's a nothing. He supposedly found Justin Bieber and he is his agent of some sort. He found someone else I never heard of. And he's their, like, what, babysitter? But that function that he has with them, he gets paid very well for. In the fact that so well that his wife, same three kids scenario, is getting $60,000 a month for the pit crew. I only got $900 a month, 900 for all three kids. This yo-yo's getting 60,000. That's 60,000 per month for the same three heads that she birthed into the world. There is something so far off when she's just a birthday person and not a calendar timing piece. And I hang in a great hall somewhere, not by photography, but by hand oil etched paintings that, like, the level of human I grew up around in modest but classic taught me about. My grandfather was a painter, frescoes, important things, but humble, classic lines of spiritual, already awakened, already akin, already attuned, and totally missing this societal pleasure of, like, whatever it is that they do at celebrity level. I don't know. I'm celestial, not celebrity. I'm sure there's a market for celebrity somewhere. No idea what they organize themselves or call themselves. But I know that hanging in a great hall of utmost respect somewhere with ancestry and having an expressed genetic with this particular nozzle and having the lines of symmetry that to someone, not a lot, I don't need to be beautiful to a lot, but I did want the one that found me attractive and found worth in me in order to journey in life with. That was withheld. But part of that journey of getting away from what turned dangerous, there is a paperwork trail. The paperwork trail is so far askew from how other people who are just birthdays, they're not hanging in a great hall somewhere, they're not etched in marble in somewhere, they're not curated in a museum somewhere, there's no market of classified somewhere that follows the trends in these things. And so I don't understand how they're living at a level in this day and age of $60,000 a month for not wanting to be together, and why I was forced into something. And then when I wanted it to end and I said, it's just, again, I don't have words for it, but I don't want to be part of this or whatever it was, or for whatever reason they did what they did. I don't want it. But 900, means that now I'm at effect of everything in the market. I can't even raise the three children. Would I like them to give their life to service? Would I like them to give their purpose to learn about our family history that hangs in the Great Hall? I would have liked that myself. It, for some reason, Special Task Force and marked. I don't understand why it wasn't from very early on and a smooth transition. I do not understand why the hands got tied in all, and it wasn't even, and let's put it this way, it's not even a hand tying ceremony like Guggenheim Woods would have been, or something respectable in Viking territory. Viking Lilybet at alphabet and alpha beta for delta alpha gamma. These are Lil, except it's a different speech pattern that uses Lil, as some form of characteristically alphabet or numeracies. I found that along my travels alone. But the Belle of Troy today, in a union-free school district that I was originally in the fallout shelter before I was moved to a different area, seemed really significant. And here's how some of the blatantly obvious ridiculousness, I mean, like, careers I couldn't even fathom because I'm not amongst the ostentatious. I'm not amongst the new wealth. I'm not amongst the sports and the movies and the opulence of new money. I grew up with old money. I was hoping to just be absorbed into something classical, like curator, learning about history and a museum and symbols and the formalities that come with, like, the etiquette of formality. I really did not want to have to be pushed in a direction of chicken wings and, like, doesn't know how to hold a knife and fork and the dwarfisms of this area. I really did not want to make that a lifelong challenge. I didn't. And I don't know how to get to the seriousness of, I I know how to hold a knife and fork the way that I was taught at home and reinforced at the one etiquette lesson that somebody gifted me with, an opportunity that my parents were able to then send me to, that then somebody was brought in for observance of the whatever that they were up to. Here's how New York, it's a societal norm now, this key of divorce. I think for every marriage, because they've ruined, like, the people partaking in it haven't ruined it. It seems to have been ruined straight before we got here. Again, Lynn and Lou never got a divorce. They probably should have. It didn't do me any good that they were kept together. Life just got worse anyway, but they're sticking with their guns of, they chose one another and had me. For whatever reason, I know that that's symbolically, that gesture is important at some level. But for me, it doesn't work out. It doesn't even equate out, like, by a definition. There's other insidious, like, almost backgammon that's going on.
I guess we could say this is a sad moment for Scooter Braun. Justin Bieber's manager, Ari Grande's manager.
Now, what's interesting is this guy, Scooter, looks a lot like Andy Teofrio's tag along at Blacksmith problems that are off the back of a Falco into a whole nother set. I mean, it's like Thompson to Falco. It's like passing the baton. What are you all running a marathon? Of like, I don't want any of you. Like, none of you fit the T. None of you are old money. None of you are even facially recognizable. I mean, it's just like, where are the Thanes at Woodland and Lake Town? Why am I stuck at dwarfism?
He basically runs Hollywood. But then again, you like to say that, when marriages end and, it's just opening doors for another chapter or some nonsense like that. Anyway, Scooter's divorce is final.
Oh my God.
And it has been actually, about a year?
It's been about a year. But
yeah.
what happens in a divorce, when they have a property settlement agreement, right? And the property settlement is usually attached to the final divorce documents. In this case,
It's usually
the
like
property
2 to
settlement
5 pages.
is 71 pages long. Yes.
Now, I find this interesting that he's holding his hands like this in telling the story, because I know some of the front circus United States or circus North America, they're contracted somehow, and then they've got something that they hold them to. I've no idea. I've heard it in their acknowledgement, like oopsie, before it became this serious. But 71 pages, again, I don't know what that's reference to, but I see $65 million home in divorce. Let's put it this way. As far as the home went, we had to pay $452,000 for the house to bring Alexander back to New York, for right as I was about to give birth, after leaving Virginia, and the mortgage was around like $380. So the monthly payment was around $3,500 a month. I had no income coming in, and he was an NYPD officer. So at divorce, so it was only $450,000. Their settlement is a $65 million home. That's so many more zeros than my humble attempt at survival. I mean, with all of the careers that are available and possible on this earth's surface, and the fact that they pay these dopes just to be hustlers, it's a hustle is what it looks like. Then they have like casinos and DraftKings and Leisure World. You couldn't find one corporate yo-yo address to stick my name on and send me a check in family whatever, just to like be a part of something and give me some direction if this is the way that it was taking and I was going to be stuck amongst dwarves.
That much that he's accumulated.
It's insane. He gets over 100 works of art. He keeps the $65 million home, the $40 million private jet, over 100 bank accounts and investments. Downside, he has to pay $20 million to his ex and $60,000 a month in child support for their 3 kids. But
there it is. So at one time, they considered them slaves of the sports. I don't know if they still consider them slaves at this level of money making. I don't think they really care unless somebody pays them to say that they don't want to be slaves. And then, of course, other things go into effect. But my question is, I'm so confused as to how that is even available, and yet I hang in a great hall of painted, and yet there was no value placed so I might have a nice life and have children the proper way. It just doesn't make sense. But this is this new world that they're all in, and I'm trying to survive in, and not well. The numbers are so violently askew. As I've heard the FBI TV show, I don't know if this is real, but the TV show from TV producer land said there's some title SSA, which I've never heard of, but I don't like exist around, like I don't know any FBI necessarily. And they're saying SSA is the title for whatever this person last night on this TV show was doing. I only saw like 5 minutes of it, but it was just as a learning tool to like, is that how, almost like a public service announcement? Is that what they're using? Because the FBI no longer looks like the old FBI of the Mormon and the black and white and the penguin, whatever. It now looks like Crayola's melted all into one, and now it's confusing. And I, again, I don't know where to go. And now they require, according to its website, a bachelor's degree to even get into the FBI. That puts a hurdle and a block up yet again that I can't seem to overcome. I mean, it's like everywhere I go, there's just something was built in the path of my freedom to get to even just survive and sustain, and like the hopes of meeting somebody, like if the gods should like smile upon me at this point instead of just frowns. It just feels like at every turn.
But he just retains a ton of assets.
His clients are so famous that he is famous now, but he's not the guy who's out in front on camera. No, and yet he's making that much money and has that much stuff.
Because look,
He's a businessman.
he is
Very smart.
he is a very savvy business person.
He bought a whole record label.
Well, he's got record labels. He's got his finger in so many things. But
Now my question is, did he go to school? Did he like hunker down and really learn the system? Or did some angel investor from the hellhounds in the bowels of hell where I exist like come out from the shadows and say, "Hey kid, here, I'm going to give you an opportunity. And this is how it works. This is what it looks like," and constructed for him and built him into being this mention on this reality. I really don't think the man made it on his own. I mean, he could have. But I really think at this level of stupidity with no real, there's somebody who backs you. There's somebody who says, like, I worked at something called the Imperial Manor once. I went to somebody's retirement party before they ever retired, or they were there for retirement. I don't know what from. I had a wrist brace on from carrying the tray because, again, I was doing a waitress. I was in a tuxedo, a respectable up to the collar white shirt with a bow tie and a jacket and a pair of pants. And I was waitressing tables at receptions for weddings and for in like one of these like it looked like going out of business. It was near the OK Petroleum. It was in Plainview. It was actually in a place where the hospital where I was born, in Plainview. And so I was there, and there were a couple of functions that were put on. I was just put on the schedule. And again, in the cadence of people know who they are. They know how important they are. They know if they're elves hiding in dwarfish clothing, coming to seek out and just to have a moment in some Waldorf. That never seems to be an issue for me because, again, I feel like I'm so stuck in quicksand at this point with no construct of where an arm to hold onto and where a hand to hold would even come from or look like, or what career path to even pursue that might fit what I'm good at or my talents are. I have no idea. I went to a strategic management meeting, I think Tony Robbins once with Century 21. He invited me to a hotel. He was doing like a conference like workshop. I went there once, heard him speak, and then I was set up on further conference calls, but I couldn't afford to pay them because I was in the process of getting the divorce, and whatever little money I had was going to pay for the day to day and the divorce bill that was like a Christy Brinkley bill, but I wasn't Christy Brinkley. This is just it's so frustrating knowing like where I it's like all the trappings and the makings of having a really nice life built a completely different way. And for some reason, this landslide happened of I have no idea. Something broke, and then being thrown to dwarfism. And like some of them are ostentatious dwarves, but and then they get vicious when they get placed on some scale, which is why I don't go out and look for this kind of stuff. I don't look for whatevers. But when I look at some of their faces, I see their promoted selves, and then I see the real life facial T-cross of what looks similar in Who's Trapping Me Here, and where is their promoter self elsewhere. Like, where's their mirror image and doppelgangers in a storyline elsewhere that's at the vicious level of DraftKings and games and House of Dragons and so on and so forth, for which I feel like I am just being crushed underneath, even though in the Great Hall of Paintings, they know that there is another way, and that I was not to be painted in this manner. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies, broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. So you want one example? There you go. There's some guy named Scooter. He's some asset manager or producer. I wouldn't even say asset manager, because that seems like it's like Raytheon or like defense contracted. But here's the circus, the upfront circus.
It's just stunning that if you rewind.
Wait. What's stunning besides the $65 million house and $40 million jet?
Yeah.
Because really, I was done at that.
No.
Those two things alone.
I'll tell you what's more stunning. What's more stunning is how he started out. That this guy
I
found this
remember the
kid
video
on YouTube when he was 13 years old, when the singer Justin Bieber was 13 years old, and created an empire for Justin, for others.
I want to take you back to a moment.
Hark, did the Hellhounds speak? He found him on YouTube, and he built an empire out of finding this kid on YouTube. Interesting.
Harvey, you know the video I'm talking about when Justin was in, I believe, in the airport.
Oh, with the helicopter.
With the remote control helicopter.
And Scooter was telling me that,
Scooter was yelling at like a parent, like chasing a kid around the airport. And I remember we were looking at it going, God, it cannot be worth it to be manager, to manage someone like that.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Well,
and so Scooter has a helicopter and a jet. I mean, it's crazy.
Pretty sure Scooter had the last laugh on that.
And he's young. I mean, that's the other thing. He's young. I mean, it's one of those stories in Hollywood.
Well, we should say, look, sad that it's the end of a chapter. And obviously, when he and Yale got married, they were very much in love, and now that's over.
And again, it's just what this new modern society has brought, as far as I know how one side wants it to be, and I would have happily lived into the way it was supposed to be. except they threw at me this modern society. It like just, I mean, they threw me out into a modern society, even Great Hall painted and all, with nothing. And then it's never recouped, it's never recovered. It's only gotten worse, more dangerous. And the amount of survived assassination attempts, which is what I call it, is miraculous on its own. And I know that in the halls of hell, or the hounds of hell, there's Hell's Angels. Falco took me on one. I don't like motorcycles. I don't. It's not my thing. I don't find them attractive. I know that there's a whole level of humans that really enjoy it. It is like a deterrent for me. But here we are at, what did they set me up with? Everything I detest. And it's just like they blacksmithed it into existence, and there's like no escape from it. It's like one disgusting after the next, and it's like, just smile in the trenches so they don't try to murder you. Yeah, okay, because I know who I am, but I mean, this is not a life like that you want to duplicate. This is not how any of the ancestors should have to live. I don't understand why I'm being forced through this. Really, I don't. When there's this level of idiocy surviving at such ridiculously different levels of lifestyle. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies, broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.